Hello, so my name is Atharv Agarwal and I am a student at BITS Pilani. I'm in the biological science and I've been doing front-end development for more than 1 year. Some of my biggest projects include the Apogee and Oasis website for BITS Pilani.
Okay. So, when did you start your front-end development journey? Were you coding before coming to college also?
So before college, there is a bit of HTML, CSS, which is a part of a school curriculum. That is mostly what I had done before coming to college. I really started off in front end after DVM started recruiting. I learned front end from the recruitment tasks.
So, Bits has really helped you in your front-end development journey.
More than bits, I would say DVM.
Okay, DVM. So, can you tell in brief what DVM does?
Okay, so DVM is stands for the Department of Visual Media, and it is basically responsible for handling all the technical aspects of the cultural and technical fest of BITS Pilani.
And like when people generally come to college, they aren't aware of the department and club culture.
Mhm.
So, how did you get the exposure of it directly from the recruitment acts, or were you attending the Rotunda interactions also?
So I came to Pilani campus in the sixth iteration. So that was like I think 2 weeks after the first fresher people came in. So by that time the Rotunda interaction were almost over. They were the seniors from departments were still calling juniors for interactions at looters and all. But I only got called once or twice, and like that department did not just like set in with me. DVM was different because it had a like formal recruitment in which it sent out a mail that was open for all. So that is how I joined into DVM's recruitment.
And what was the recruitment journey like, the recruitment task process?
Like the recruitment journey was tough because before before I started doing the recruitment tasks, more like all of my front end project were just HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap.
Okay.
Like I used to use Bootstrap and Bootstrap alone. I almost did not write any CSS. But like Bootstrap is finally a UI library. You can't use it everywhere. So in the recruitment task, like I had to do things by myself. I had to ditch the library. I came out of the library.
So, like the task was in HTML, CSS also, or like the JavaScript, React?
Uh, it was in HTML, CSS for the first round. Second and third round, it had JavaScript as well. And React was always optional. If you wanted to use it, you could.
Okay.
And if you don't,
And how tough is the process, like the recruitment process?
it's really tough. Like uh, when I started my recruitment, there were around 70 applicants in front end, and out of them only two were selected.
So, like, isn't this like any other club? Why the recruitment, the people they are recruiting is so less?
Because like unlike other technical clubs in bits, uh, the like DVM works on a really on a much larger scale and with much higher stakes. Like if a project goes wrong in another club, it won't matter that much because it is most probably their own personal project or project from another club, and it does not have that many consequences.
Hmm.
But if DVM messes up a project, it heavily impacts the fests. So that is why I was more keen on joining DVM because it had higher
You
stakes.
get the live users and the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
responsibility. Okay. And so in the DVM, like as you mentioned, it was HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
Hmm.
So are they using that only? No React?
While working in DVM, we use React only.
Okay.
The reason we give HTML, CSS, JavaScript tasks to freshers is because mostly freshers are not into coding at that point, right? And if you directly give them React, they will rush React, and that is not good for their base building. So we give them tasks in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript only. The
So
recruit.
and how much can you say, like in this AI boom, how much is AI helping in vibe coding? Many people are doing just
Mm-hmm.
writing the prompts and getting the code.
Yeah.
So do you think it's easy to distinguish the people who wrote the AI code and non-AI code in the recruitment process, or like you allow vibe coding?
So I allow vibe coding as long as they understand what they have written, right? If someone has completely AI generated their code and has not like studied it or anything, you can figure it out very easily in the interviews, and that's where we grill them. Ki, why are you using AI?
I remember one of your potential recruit was using jQuery, and that
Yeah.
didn't well pretty good. Like, can you elaborate on that story?
Okay, so that was not jQuery. What he had done is, I guess he probably copied the source code of the website we asked them to clone for the task. They probably copied the source code, or they had some AI write it, not in a good way, but like what he submitted to us was the entire website in a single line, having 90,000 characters or something, and it was obvious that no human is going to do that stuff.
How many lines?
90,000
90,000.
90,000 characters
Okay.
in one single line,
Okay.
and that's how he had written the entire website.
So after the code submissions, you have like a review, code review rounds also.
Yeah, like technical rounds. We basically ask them questions about their code and other things revolving around the things they're expected to learn in that code.
And do you guys also provide like the roadmap and all during the recruitment process?
Yeah, like DVM has been maintaining a resource drive for quite a long time, and we update it almost.
Okay, so now the person is well versed with React.
Mhm.
He's, let's suppose he is recruited.
Mhm.
So what would be his major responsibility like? Like, because the fest happens usually in like late October and then in March. So does he work before fest only or like throughout the year? What is
Uh,
the commitment to the department?
So in the first year, the recruit's job is to learn things. Like we are not expecting them to know React when we recruit them, so they'll learn React first. Then they'll learn other things like SAS or any other things they want to explore in their work tenure. Their work tenure begins in the second year. In the first year, we give them practice tasks and some small stuff like making the developers page on the website or making the farewell website. The Costa slides and Stuka slides. Those are easy projects. That is what we give them. Once they come in the second year, they are a part of the workforce, and there we give them an actual project in the summers, and after that they work on Oasis and Apogee.
Cool. And apart from this, like there are also other projects also.
Yeah, there are apart from Fest, there are other projects. Yeah,
So they are working like hands on. It's a responsibility.
yeah.
What if someone quits in between? Like, does that happen to the department? Because there is no commitment. There's no grade boosting. It won't help him. Like it's just I'm doing for the sake of doing.
Mhm.
So what if someone takes light?
So, I mean, someone did take light. So from personal experience, I would say it does impact you, but it does not matter that much because one person taking light, his load will basically be distributed among the other four. We generally recruit 5 people. So even if one person takes light, it is still manageable.
Okay.
But the load on each individual will be higher.
And like I was seeing through the Oasis and Apogee website, like there's a lot of 3D stuff also.
Mhm.
So apart from React, you guys are using different technologies also.
Yeah, so for 3D, we use React 3 Fiber, which is basically a library built on 3JS. 3JS is the go-to 3D library for doing 3D web dev.
So how easy it is? Like it is intuitive when someone knows React. How much time it would take to pick it up?
3JS is not that intuitive.
Like
I would,
remember, like in the library, I was saying you were doing some physics stuff also.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like, what was that?
So I was learning 3JS not because of DVM, but because of my own interest, and like I was enjoying it quite a bit. I used a resource called 3JS Journey to learn 3JS and React 3 Fiber. I would say it is. I wouldn't say it's extremely difficult, but it is like something you would not normally do as a front end developer. So it is stepping out of what people think is front end development.
Okay. So front end development is like just not restricted to the 2D world.
Yeah,
It can go to 3D
yeah.
also. But like, are there companies who use 3D? Have you any experience on that? Like
The
you have
compa-
researched
the
anything?
companies like 3D websites are usually designer websites, right? And designer websites are usually used to advertise products. For example, MSI, right? That laptop gaming laptop company. MSI is a
Okay.
gaming laptop company. So they built a 3D website in which it is basically a 3D game, and if you win the game, you get some sort of points. So that is like something to you know advertise some product. and the other companies that use 3D websites are designer companies. Like their job is to showcase their creativity and their designs, so they use 3D websites because it is like it expands your boundaries to show creativity.
And like from the other domains like front end ho gaya. So one can also explore app dev because I guess React and React Native are quite similar.
Right.
Have you explored React Native?
I have done basics of React Native and they are quite similar. Although, like it will largely differ when you get to the part where you are having to interact with the phone hardware, because you don't have any need to interact with the phone hardware in React. But when you are developing an application, there are different APIs in React Native for phone hardware.
So like you are dealing with the OS level also, like the
Yeah.
permissions and all in the app. Okay, cool. And like, are you looking into the front end development as the career path also, like, or is it just the side hustle you are doing?
I'm not looking at front-end development as a permanent career path. I used it to get into coding because like there are a lot less choices in front end, right? It's more difficult to get confused. Like say if you're going to back end, you have Python, you have C, you have
You can explore
JavaScript.
different fields also,
Yeah,
like in
there are a lot of choices, and you can
cyber
get
security, cloud.
yeah, and you can get confused
This
with
is
that.
this is one thing. Like I also feel like front end is generally restricted to the browser world.
Hmm.
Even the like app dev people can explore the operating system of the app side,
Right.
but front end is a little bit restricted to the browser world and the extensions.
Right.
So, but yeah, coming back to the question, like what are your opinions on the scope of the front end?
So I took up front end because it had a lot less choices, and it is a bit easier to learn as compared to back end or app development. So that is why I took up front end. I am not looking forward to staying in front end forever.
Now, next question. Uh, if someone like you don't have any plans, like have you researched if someone goes niche into the front end,
Mhm.
how much on an average can they make? Like, are
So
there companies hiring just for front end developers?
there is demand for front end developers. Like there are a lot of openings for front end developers. However, the pay is not that high because there are a lot of front end developer as well. Like JavaScript is the most well known language in the world, and it is pretty much what front end is built around, right? So almost everyone can do front end. So if you want high paying jobs, I don't think front end is the place for you unless you go into like really niche categories of front end. Like I said, uh, like if you go into WebGL and stuff. So that is when a front end job can like WebGL developers are really niche in front end, and so there are not many jobs requiring WebGL, but those that are there are comparatively higher paying.
Okay, cool. And have you done any freelance projects also in the front end?
I'm doing an internship right now, and I have made other websites for other clubs as well in my free time.
Okay. And do you use vibe coding? Like for the recruitment, okay, it's
Mm-hmm.
a no-no because they are learning. But now when you know the stuff, do you vibe code? Be honest.
Like most of what DVM's websites are is mostly 3D and stuff, right?
Hmm.
And AI is not very reliable when you ask it to code 3D websites.
Okay.
So I prefer to write 3D code myself. But when there are like small things such as maybe making a carousel, I've made a carousel several times, and like I pretty much don't need to learn how to make a carousel, and it gets redundant. So I make AI do that stuff.
And if someone doesn't even know how to make cursor, they can just give a prompt and get how, and
The
it would
problem
work.
the problem with that is like I would say learning everything is a step in the way, right?
Okay.
So if you like even learning how to make a carousel is a step in the way because you learn a lot of things. You wouldn't be making carousel in the end of your front end journey or whatever. Like you have learned front end for 1 year and then you are learning how to make a carousel, right? If you're making a carousel, it's usually really early on in your journey. And in that, if you're using AI, you're basically skipping steps, which might hurt you later on.
Okay. And
We,
for the
we actually rejected a guy because he vibe coded a carousel, wasn't able to explain it into the interview, and so we had to reject him.
okay, What are your views on Next.js? Like Next.js is the integration of front end and back end.
Yeah.
So like, why specifically build front end in Next.js when you can build in React? Are there any optimization for that? I guess Next.js is server side rendering
Mhm.
and React is client side. So can you explain it in brief?
So Next.js is basically a full stack framework in which you can basically write front end and back end together. The front end resembles React, the back end resembles something you would do with Express. So I don't know exactly why you would like. I guess it is because you will have one single framework to run your front end and back end project, and integration might be easier. I haven't done back end on Next.js. Another thing is Next.js is uh, a bit better optimized than React because it does server side rendering, it does caching by itself, and it does other things in like, for example, it has routing pre-set up for you. So those are a few of the pros of
So
Next.js.
if you have to go with React or Next.js, what would you choose for your next project? For the
It,
front end only.
if I have to do front end only, I would prefer React
Okay.
because Next.js, though it is a good framework, right? But it is if you want to make like professional websites, like the industry wali websites,
Industry as in
like
industry websites, don't they
with the
just improve their design and
no, what I'm
styles?
talking about is I usually make websites that have fancy animations and stuff, right? That stuff suffers a bit in Next.js because Next.js, like, it is hell bent on optimizing, so you have to deal with caching and stuff. That is why I prefer React when I make websites.
Okay.
But if there is a project that I'm going for full stack for, I will definitely build it in Next.
Okay. And like you are doing a quite a lot in front end. And what is your current like you are approaching to the end of the second year and beginning for the third year. So you are still coding or you are more into the manager positions right now? You're guiding the juniors. Or
Uh,
are you planning to code also?
So now that my DVM work tenure has ended, I don't exactly have like I don't have to do front end, and I don't plan on doing front end in my third year as well. I think I'm in a good position in front end. So most probably in my third year, I would be exploring things like back end in Go and AR, VR and stuff like that. Other than that, if there are any juniors under me, I would also be managing them.
Of course there are like
We'll see about that.
okay. Okay. And so you're like really into front end, right? How much time on an average do you give it to on a day?
It varies a lot actually. Like right now, I'm barely giving any time to front end because one, the examinations are coming, and two, Apogee just like Apogee ended, and I was busy with other stuff after that.
Okay. You were like busy in the POR stuff also,
Ha,
right?
ha. So because of that, I am not giving a lot of time right now. But when I was learning 3JS and WebGL, I was giving like 6 to 7 hours a day.
6 to 7 hours a day.
Yeah.
Okay. And how do you manage it with the academics?
I give up on academics
Okay.
every time.
How is the senior and junior bonding at DVM in general? Like, your third year rights must be guiding you, and you must be guiding your freshman years. So, like, how is that whole process? Because
So,
I guess that helps in networking also.
right. So, in the first year, there is not so much senior and junior bonding because the seniors are mainly busy in their own workforce tenure, plus the juniors are new recruits and they are also first year rights. So, they don't interact that much. The bonding in DVM really happens in your second year, where your third years will be directly managing you and you will be interacting amongst each other for your work. So, that's when the bonding really happens.
Okay. Uh,
And it's quite good bonding that happens.
and so like clubs and departments are a great way for networking also, right?
Definitely, like I would say it is the best way for networking.
Like I guess it's going great. So what are your views on BITS Pilani in general? Like there is a lot inside the college, but outside like it's nothing. One midtown, one pizzeria, and it ends.
Right.
So what are your views on it? Should people consider like outside the college life also while joining the college, because it's not there here?
Uh, like I don't think it makes that much of a difference. Like sometimes there are times where I wish like I there were more shops outside or there was a train station nearby, not 20 kilometers away. There are times when I wish that, but I don't think like you can easily like survive properly in Bits Pilani without ever stepping out of the campus. Like you have a bunch of eateries here, you have a general store here, and the mess has food, right? So you don't really need to go out of the campus that much.
Hmm. And BITS has no attendance policy.
That is a lie.
Why? That is not a lie.
That is a lie.
Why do you go to classes?
No,
Then,
which is why
and what are your opinions on bio department in general? Are they chill? Like, I have heard like CS department is the chillest. Then the bio department.
I mean, I can't say about other departments. I don't know the profs from the other departments. I'd say bio department is like quite chill. Like the
Okay.
professors won't really bother you other than the fact that they just love surprise tests
Mm.
and they refuse to give makeups.
And what's the lab component part of like MSc Bio? Do you have labs and all also?
We have labs. So I think we have one lab at least each semester, and you can take elective labs.
One lab each semester.
Yeah.
That is quite less. I have 4 labs this semester. And one lab is 3 hours.
I have two labs this semester. Like one lab, but you would have it once a week, right?
I am having on Monday, Friday, Saturday. Saturday there are 2 labs.
Right. But
I am having labs at Saturday, bro. Saturday is announced holiday.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, lab component for bio is pretty chill.
Like one very, important question.
Mm,
I personally feel like front end people are, the most screwed vertical in the department. Because, like, first they are stuck because of the design,
mhm.
and then they are stuck because of the back end.
Yeah.
So they are in between.
Right.
So, what are your views on it?
I mean, I wouldn't say we are that screwed, but yeah, like front end becomes quite boring later on, and like I would say there are some aspects, especially in backend and app dev vertical, where you have to interact with people outside the department, right? The food stall vendors are there. There are other departments and clubs, right? Front end does not get that opportunity, and I think that is a good thing to have.
Hmm. In the back end, like you must know the whole flow of the
Yeah.
fest. But that was not the question. The question was like how you are stuck because of the design and the backend. Because sometimes you build stuff, but the backend endpoints are not there.
Right.
And sometimes you want to build stuff, but there is no design.
There is stuff worse than that, right? There is the thing like the design builds like the design does not give you the design on the right time, and then your deadlines are delayed. Then when you're trying to integrate the APIs, they are not ready from the backend side. There is that stuff which just wrecks our deadlines. Other than that, the worst thing is when the design makes some like it makes some design, right? And the fields in that design are different than what the backend APIs are giving you. And then you are like confused that what the hell do you have to do.
Oh.
So deploying on Vercel and Netlify, like if you are doing it for testing, like we do deploy our projects on Netlify and Vercel, and we share that link with the seniors so that they can see the progress of the website, right? But if you're planning to use Vercel and Netlify as the final product, which will like go out to the Bits Apogee domain and it will go out to the outstation participants and all, then I don't think it is a good idea to use Vercel and Netlify. It eases things, but the bill you get is really high.
How do you guys go for SEO and optimizing the website so it hit on the search results?
So we do the standard SEO practices like adding meta tags, titles, right, and adding what do you call it, favicon. Then we also use like I don't remember the name. Google's
Crawler age.
Not crawler agent. I don't remember the website. What was it?
The one that you gave access to me. Okay, some SEO website of
like
Google.
I think it was Google Search Console. Not
Maybe,
sure.
maybe.
Not sure. I think it was Google Search Console. So in that, like you basically link your website with that, and from that you can have Google perform SEO checks and crawl your website and stuff. From which it will show on the search results.
Okay.
Other than that, another thing I'm planning to do from next year on, we did not do it this year, but from next year on, I'm planning to implement React Helmet as well.
What is React?
React Helmet is basically a very simple React library which allows you to add stuff like meta tags and title tags to React components, which is something you can usually not do.
So if anyone has to start his front end development journey, right? He knows nothing. How much time would it take for him or her to get to the front end development so that she is able to make a decent website?
So,
Not
I
3D, but basic.
I'd say HTML and CSS are quite easy. Like at max, it should take you, like if you're not going into too much depth, because you don't need to know HTML in and out to do front end development. Like there are things like tables and stuff in HTML. I have learned them, but I have never actually used them, and I probably don't even remember how to use them. So if you're looking for getting the basics of HTML and CSS, I'd say you would take a week at max. Like you could finish it in 2-3 days, but if you are going at a easy pace, it will take a week at max.
1 week front end done.
No, that is just HTML and CSS.
Okay.
With that, you can build the UI. If you want to add actual logic and animations and stuff to your website, you'll have to learn JavaScript, and learning JavaScript could be a long process. Like I took maybe almost a month, more than a month, I'd say. You can say 2 months to learn JavaScript properly.
Do we need to learn JavaScript properly to get hands on?
Yes. Like you'd need to learn JavaScript. You need to know a fair amount of JavaScript to even start React.
Resources you used for it?
For
the Java?
I had a Udemy course called Web Developer Bootcamp.
Okay.
So that's what I used to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Other than that, I also used to refer to MDN.
MDN is cool.
Yeah.
And apart from the core front end skills, for the department also, like you guys manage fest and all, are there any vibe checks also? Like I guess DVM and other clubs departments are also famous for vibe checks.
The other departments have significantly more weightage on vibe because, like the other departments' work is, you can't really judge the skill of that work because, say for example, if I take spawns, right, its job is to attract sponsors, right? Now, how exactly will you judge the skills of how a guy attracting sponsors? It's difficult. You can't give them tasks to do that. So most of the departments have vibe-based recruitment. I'd say, as far as I know, there are only two exceptions to this. That is ADP and DVM.
ADP and DVM.
Yeah, because ADP has tasks where you have to like draw paintings based on a topic and you have to submit those paintings. DVM has coding related tasks, video editing.
All tech
tasks.
clubs basically.
Yeah, all technical clubs have tasks.
And like from the backend perspective, there's a lot of things that changes frequently. There are so many news out there. Is the same with front end also? Like, are there updates regularly? Do things change?
Yeah, I'd say things change in front end quite frequently. Like I'd say React is getting upgraded quite often. You'll see a new React version, like a minor update every 3 or 4 months, and you could say you'll get a major update every year or 2 years.
Uh, when I was learning React, then back there wasn't hook. There was something other thing called, I don't know, some class based
Components.
components. Yeah, that got deprecated now,
Yeah.
right? So then it's shifted completely to hooks, and hooks are like
Right.
one of the
So,
best thing.
when I started React, we were on React version 16.
Okay.
And right now, I think the latest version is React 18.
React 18.
I think React 19 might be out or it's around the corner.
But there is scope in React right now. Like it's the I guess
like
it.
React is what most of the developers
Ah.
use these days. Like exactly, there is a lot of jobs in React, but the pay might not be that high. So I have used RKIC when we were working, but once the work was finished, I did not really come to RKIC. I think this is quite a good place because it has a bunch of charging ports and it has an air conditioner.
And everyone can sit together.
Yeah, and everyone can sit together, which has been a major pain point for us for a long time, at least in the first semester. When they would call us to Krishna Common Room or when they would call us to FD1 rooms, they were hot. They were like, and in Krishna Common Room, we did not even have a table, so we'd have to
Mm.
take it on your lap, and your neck would start hurting after a while. So I'd say this is much better than that.
And many people say in the front end part, like it's not logical. Do you agree with them or not?
Yes.
It's not logical.
Front
Use
end,
use state, use effect, Redux for state management.
right.
They are not logical.
So
Caching, local storage.
like I'd say that is pretty basic logic, right? You take API from the backend and you put it somewhere in the local storage, and you do stuff with API. You show stuff with API. It is mostly just if else statements, like in React, sorry, in front end. It's just mostly if else statements. What I think of when I say logic is like in backend, you're writing algorithms, right, to sort people, like hostel allocation बोल सकते हैं क्या?
You can.
हाँ, so like in hostel allocation, you write algorithm to allocate people based on their preferences. That sort of thing is what I consider logic, and that is not there in front end. And especially in CSS is completely illogical. I still fail to understand what I am writing in CSS.
Okay, cool. So I guess it was great talking with
Right.
Atharv Agarwal. Thank you for coming to the podcast.
Thank you too.
Yep.